Hey friends, welcome to Lead from Your Strengths. I am Jenny Edwards Bertrand, and my partner in crime in this endeavor, Eric Swanson, asked me to share a little bit about what it's been like to plant a church, and specifically how to think like a church planter in a way that may be helpful to anyone, regardless of what kind of church you're leading. Today, I want to give a special shout out to Isaac Simmons, who has agreed to help produce this podcast, and I'm very grateful for his help today. Yay, Isaac! Woohoo! So thinking like a church planter, where I want to start is that there are if we're thinking of leading from our strengths, there are really 5 ways of thinking about being a leader in a faith community according to the book of Ephesians. And that is as an apostle, as a prophet, as an evangelist, as a shepherd, or we translate that to pastor, and as a teacher. And for many of us in sort of a traditional church appointment, we think about the roles of being a shepherd teacher or a pastor teacher, how to care for people and then teach. I would say that if we're thinking of leading from our strengths, that if you lean on the side of more apostolic gifts or prophetic gifts or evangelical, like evangelist type gifts, sharing the good news with people, perhaps you are more inclined to think like a planter, but maybe even if you are a shepherd teacher and you are loving life in the local church, some of this will help you. Well, first of all, I would say to think like a planter, you need to have an appetite for learning, because there's really almost nothing from a practical nature that you gained in seminary that will help you plant a church. Now, that theological education is an important lens through which to approach everything that you do and was an important educational piece. But in order to start something new, I can't even tell you, I devour books, podcasts, blogs. I call people all the time to get their advice. Right now, I am in a couple of different clubhouse rooms with planters. I'm on multiple Facebook groups. I'm in nonprofit leadership podcasts that I listen to regularly. I devour books, just trying to understand not only how to do church in a different way, but how to communicate, how to market, how to connect with people of different generations. So I would say you need an appetite for learning. The second thing that I would say is you're thinking like a planter if you just have a passion for understanding your community. And when I say your community, I don't mean your church community. I mean your community. Like, who else lives there and what are they doing and what's fun? What are the needs? What are the ways you can serve? But where are people having fun? Where are people getting a drink? Where are people drinking their coffee? Where are people eating? Where are people golfing? Where are people swimming? Like, just what do people do for fun? And then even, can you be there? When I was first, still $0, 0 people, my coach said to me, why don't you eat out in a different restaurant every single day and then go back there every Monday or every Tuesday, just so the people that work there get to know you. I have bartenders and servers all over Bloomington Normal who to this day know who I am and introduce me to other people. Just the other day, I went to the wine bar. The owner of the wine bar came out, greeted me with a hug, and introduced me to everyone else who was there at that time as someone who had planted a church in the community. It's really fun. Third, I would say you have to have a pretty high tolerance for risk and a willingness to try things that aren't going to work, but some of which will. And part of that is just thinking, okay, don't have a big splashy unrolling of each new program. Maybe just try some things. And if it works, put a little more effort or a little bit more time or money or people into it. But having a very high tolerance for risk is part of thinking like a planter. Fourth, if you're thinking like a planter, you're kind of always thinking of the people not at your church. And really, that's the biggest rub I get when I'm in large clergy groups. Most clergy, and I see why this is appropriate, are thinking about what the people in their church will like or not like, tolerate or not tolerate, get upset about or not get upset about. So I'm like always thinking about the people not in the church, and every once in a while I have to be kind of, hey, you should probably care about the people there. But much like Peter in the book of Acts, it's like, okay, I do care about the people there, and who else are we going to pull in to provide leadership? Which leads me to my next point. You're constantly cultivating leaders. Now, this is fun and a great thing. For us, it means that we are constantly encouraging people into vocational ministry, and a lot of your best leaders leave you, and that is wonderful and beautiful. But you don't have those people who have provided leadership in the community for decades and decades. You're always developing leaders. You're developing givers. You're developing people who serve, like kind of all the time. There's really no one who automatically does that, nor can you expect anyone to do that. You have the responsibility to help engage people in those areas of growth. And then finally, and this is maybe the hardest one, and the one that is the most interesting in conversations with other clergy, my preferred style of discipleship, my preferred style of worship, my preferred style, my preferred time of day, any of that doesn't matter. What I like in church does not matter. In the worship war conversations that clergy have with each other, often they start with, well, what I like, what I prefer. Honestly, what I like does not matter at all. There has to be a constant awareness of the people that we are seeking to build a closer relationship with God, what connects with them. And if we're trying to be a place for people who are far from God to experience a closeness with that divine, what can we do in worship or in discipleship or in service that will help those people have a living relationship with God, experiencing the passion of the Holy Spirit? That's what matters. So you really do have to turn off that piece of your brain that thinks about what you'd prefer, and you think outwardly kind of all the time. That's how I think like a planter. I hope this was helpful. If we can be of use to you, if you want to have further conversations, just send an email to me or to Eric, or post on this Facebook group and let us know that you'd like to talk more. That's all for now. Bye.